find yourself agreeing and railing against diversity, equity, and inclusion, or inclusion and diversity, however it's termed,
congratulations, you played yourself.
That's part one. But part two of it is this. If you find yourself thinking that because you see a group of men, women, whatever groups they represent culturally, religiously, whatever, working on a project, and you say to yourself, I don't trust that those individuals can do a great job based on their appearance.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
And also,
you better shut your white mouth.
You know how many times we've seen groups of white men botch, ruin, leave in shambles things in the world? No one says it's because they were white men. Well, I have, so I say.
You know what? So then you maybe...
Congratulations, you played yourself.
But these individuals like Joe Rogan don't say that. They trust to the ends of the earth that just because these are white men that claim that they're qualified, there's not a problem here. But anytime you look at anything that has something to do with diversity, it's a problem. Or creating space for diverse ideas, diverse opinions, and people from different walks of life is a problem. Like, you are a bigot. No, that is literally what being a bigot is.
No, they always have to point it out too. Like if they see someone attempting to be diverse, like one of those situations where, like, you see a movie or a show these days and the cast is like very much diverse. They have to point it out as being bad. Like I'm sure they were sick at the Oscars this year, seeing a heavy-set black woman who they've never heard of winning. She must be undeserving. It couldn't be the fact that now people are getting opportunities to show themselves. And guess what? When they show themselves, guess what? Turns out they're also really good at what they do. Like, everybody can be capable. But instead it gets them mad. I don't even like dignifying the conversation that Joe Rogan's having, though, because I'm not buying into this. This is y'all's new made-up narrative, is that Biden's cabinet is unqualified? Wait, but Trump's...
And that's based on looks?
Well, that's what, Ebro, I don't know what it's based on. Because the country's doing better by nearly every single metric, except these made-up ideas and the quote migrant problem that's being fed to people every single day.
Remember, white men are feeling some type of way. So something's wrong in society because they've never had to feel threatened in their social status.
And by the way, they still don't have to feel threatened.
No.
They're being told to feel threatened in their social status.
But they do.
Yeah.
They do. They gather around in their little wussified groups and listen to MMA fighters who may have CTE and have done a bunch of steroids, and they think they have the world figured out based on their opinion of not feeling like they have the same social power. Because they're seeing more diversity. What you're actually doing, and what I've thought for a long time, is you're actually projecting how nefarious white supremacy is.
Go ahead.
Because the way you feel, just because of what you're seeing happen, is actually the way you've been acting for millennia. Because you're threatened by other individuals who you don't look like. That's what white supremacy is all about. You've made up a threat. That's not
made
a threat.
And it's always been a made up threat. That's the thing that's so dumb. Yo, every president in this country and a half have been white in this country. 90% of all CEOs are white. There's no... God, who runs the world? Whites. It has not changed. That has not... Why are you scared? And then they have the nerve in my comments to call me a P word, a B word, because I, as a white man, as they see it,
should not be okay with this.
Right.
Meanwhile, it's like, no. I actually, it's the opposite. Why would I cry about things when I know my position's good? Even though I specifically chose to go into a world where my position actually is probably not as great as all of these bitch-ass MFers who are complaining to me. I chose to put myself in a spot where I'm in a little bit of an awkward position, but it's okay. You know why? Because to be a white person in society in America and for a second think that you're really on the defensive and you got to watch your back, that makes you the bitch. What is wrong with you? Look around everywhere. What are you crying about? You realize that if you and a person of color of the exact same economic status were to go pursue opportunities, 99% of the time they're going to have a a worse time than you are because of the color of their skin.
And it's really about the available opportunities, right? Like if you even listen to my voice, right? My voice and the cadence of my voice and the texture of my voice. How many radio stations, if you went up and down the dial, would my voice even fit in on?
Right?
Would my perspective even fit in on?
I'd say one for both. When you add them up.
So it's really about available opportunities, right? There's more available opportunities to white people in this society than there is to anyone else in this society. And the power dynamic is specifically weighed towards white males. So the fact that you would gather around on a podcast and get all up in your little feelings and get your panties in a bunch is really...
Congratulations.
And Laura, the reason...
You played yourself.
The reason Ebro and I were both like, at least for me,
I was shocked.
The reason I was shocked by it is I did not post this. This is the second time in 2 weeks that I posted something sort of tangentially or directly related to race that I didn't think was a big deal. I was just like, oh, this is interesting.
I just looked up your tweet to see what you posted.
Yeah, the tweet was just like, I was like, yo, this seems really bigoted what he said. And I said, am I crazy?
Am I missing
I said, am
something?
I misunderstanding it? Or is this just did he become a bigot? I even gave him the benefit of the doubt of not always being a bigot. I went, did he?
I didn't.
I know. And then, 1,500 Joe Brogan bros came after me. 1,500 comments? You would have thought I said something like incredibly incendiary. I didn't.
I did.
Yeah, Ebro, of course, got in there and started, I was just sitting there, I was just watching people laughing. I was like, you guys are like Swifties times 1,000.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this.
Teenage Goyles. It's a lot of estrogen. Yo, listen, as much steroids and testosterone as y'all pumping over there, it's a lot of estrogen pumping over there, fellas. You need to chill out.
It's not
chill
even
out.
estrogen. It's just bitch assness.
So yeah, it's true. That's two different things.
Well, listen, estrogen helps with boobs and hips, and you know what I'm saying? It helps. It helps.
Now,
Laura, what you got today?
so speaking of bitch assness, Rosenberg and I were discussing Don Lemon. You know, he was very excited. He was going to start his new show after leaving CNN. He's like, I'm going to have my new show on X, formerly Twitter, right? So, he was like, yo, I'm a big proponent for free speech, and this is it for me, right? So his first interview is supposed to be with Elon Musk. He does the interview, except after the interview was taped, I guess Elon wasn't feeling the questions he was asking him, and therefore his show is no longer on X.
Oh, man, damn. So wait, who's the congrats go to?
I think you got to give it to Don.
Congratulations.
But
you played
we have
yourself.
audio. Let's hear what Don had to say.
Elon Musk is mad at me, and I just put out a statement about what happened between him, me, and the interview that he is apparently so upset about. But this is going to be my first episode of the Don Lemon Show this coming Monday, March 18th, so make sure you tune in. There's a whole lot that went down, and I know, though, that many of you were not happy that I was doing this in the first place, and you told me so. I just want you to know that I did this deal because not only do I believe in free speech, but I believed that this was the best possible chance for the work that I'm doing to reach the largest amount of people. So speaking of free speech, right, I thought the first person interview, no brainer, Elon Musk, the man who calls himself a free speech absolutist. Throughout our conversation, I kept reiterating to him that although it was tense at times, I thought it was good for people to see and hear our exchange and that they would learn from our conversation. But apparently, free speech absolutism doesn't apply when it comes to questions about him from people like me. What did we talk about? Why is he so upset? Does he even have a reason to be upset? Make sure you watch it on Monday on YouTube and everywhere you listen to podcasts, and you can decide for yourself.
Oh, so it's
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Okay, there is a congrats in him getting in business with Elon Musk.
Well, he gave it to him. Sounds like he gave it to himself.
Right, but now I'm actually thinking
it's a work.
It's kind of a work in that he knew what he was doing because he owns the interview. So he did the interview for the X show with Elon Musk, but he's taking it with him and going to YouTube.
Well, I think that's part of the deal. I think that's even Tucker Carlson's deal.
Oh,
right?
you own it.
X will promote you, or Twitter will promote you. Maybe, I don't know if they give funding. Maybe they have some creator fund. I don't know. but you still own it as your thing.
Or maybe it launches there first and then afterwards.
Oh, you know what? I can't even give him
So,
congratulations.
I mean, I
You
don't
played
know.
yourself because now it's going to be even bigger because now he takes it on his own and he has this. Listen to
It's
the
just a
clip.
congratulations.
Listen to the clip of him fighting with Elon Musk. Who's not going to want to watch this?
Yeah, it's a word.
Congratulations.
Hate
You
speech
played yourself.
on the platform is up. Do you believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform? That you wouldn't have to answer these questions from reporters about the Great Replacement Theory as it relates to
I don't have to
Democrats,
answer these
the Great
questions.
Replacement Theory as it relates to Jewish people? Do you think that?
I don't have to answer questions from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because you're on the X platform and you asked for it. Otherwise, I would not do this interview.
So you don't think? Do you think that you wouldn't get in trouble or you wouldn't be criticized for these
I'm
things? or that
criticized
there was-
constantly. I could care less.
So that's going to be a very interesting conversation here. And now you realize Elon just has it. I mean, I'm sorry, Don just has it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got to just give him congratulations.
They're saying it was a very
Basically.
tense interview. A very tense interview.
And probably disclaim it as such in the beginning, like, look, I'm going to go in on you. So-
Yeah, and then he just didn't like it. Yo, Elon, and he's another one. He loves Joe Rogan. Him and Joe Rogan are like locked in on now that we're in the conspiracy vortex though.
Right.
We got to hit the button on Aaron Rodgers.
Why?
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You don't understand. Bobby Kennedy was such a loved figure in my house. I hate that it's his kid. It's again, I want to tell everyone this is why you can't name Junior. You can't go Junior. It's a risk. You might die, and your kid's going to be loose out there while you're gone. Imagine Ebro Jr. somehow gets caught up in some crazy vortex. Like you didn't have enough time with him. Bobby got killed young.
Yeah, right.
You didn't have enough time. Your kid was loose trying to search for a father figure. Now he ends up a broken on the internet. You never know what could happen.
A broken.
So RFK Jr.
Yeah,
He's running for president.
that's right.
Somehow he has worse
Independent.
odds, according to Vegas, to win the presidency than Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom, none of which are running for
Well,
president.
that
my
right
God.
there is.
Congratulations.
So that's crazy.
You played yourself.
He's not going to win, but he's
He's making noise.
making noise, and he said he's picked his VP.
okay.
An
Well, there's
article
two
came
choices.
out. An article came out saying that the two choices people knew about were Jesse Ventura and
Body?
Jesse
Jesse
the Body.
the
That's right.
resident.
And Aaron Rodgers.
And former governor. Let's not take that away from him.
No,
He was
he-
the governor of Minnesota.
No, Jesse Ventura will be a legitimate. I mean, this is a man who ran for president himself a couple times.
Yeah.
Was a governor. I like Jesse Ventura. He's sort of on the. Jesse Ventura is one of those conspiracy dudes who, when you hear his conspiracy stuff, you see they're the reasonable conspiracies that you go, I see why you would
he's
push
like
back
me.
on those
He's a
things.
throwback conspiracy theorist.
Yes. Now
There's a throwback one.
to the modern day crazy conspiracy theorist, Aaron Rodgers, now that he's in this position, he has not come out and denied that it's going to be him. Right? So, like, he hasn't said, like, guys, this is crazy. It's
Well, he
not
wants
me.
to keep his options open against the other Achilles goes out.
So exactly. So the Jets now, it's we're in the middle now of the free agency, and all teams are building their teams. Football doesn't take much time off. They're already back to so everyone's going but is Aaron Rodgers going to be campaigning for vice president? This is kind of crazy. So now that people are paying attention, stories are coming out. Yesterday, a story came out from a very reliable journalist. There's a CNN article where she said that in 2013, she had a private conversation with Aaron Rodgers, and she described when and where it was,
Okay.
in which he seriously questioned the validity of the Sandy Hook killings. And she describes the conversation.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things now that are going to happen now that you're going to be now you want to jump into the political realm without shutting down the conversation. Yo, this could go super bad.
So is the congrats for Aaron Rodgers or is the congrats for the Jets ending up in yet another circus
I think
that
it's-
is not football and is not winning games?
Yeah.
Why would this is?
Can it be both?
I guess it can.
We can hit it twice.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
I got to hit the button on anybody out there who thinks that youth and anybody on TikTok is going to stop doing and creating what they create if TikTok is banned. This is just going to make it hotter. First, you got to know that. This just makes it hotter.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Secondly, if you're into the politics of it all, right? And, TikTok is annoying. I think there's good things about TikTok. There's people who's created great businesses on there and made money and did their thing, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like the kind of cheapening of the value of music, which I can't stand. But then we've been here before in music with ringtone rap and other things like that, where it's like, oh, this is the cute little TikTok song of the week, whatever, which is fine. It's whatever. But if you're into the politics of it all, you got to know, and we've talked about this many times on this program, literally every website, every link you click, every Facebook post, which is also IG, Meta, whatever you want to call it. And I know those are all American companies, but the data they collect, it's called big data. We've interviewed people about big data. Remember in 2016, the company in Europe that bought all the data that was then now going after and advertising false narratives on Facebook and other places during the election, and they were like, Russia has hacked the election.
Right.
Yeah.
That whole narrative of Russia has hacked the election was because foreign companies could buy your behavior, tap into and target you, and make sure they get messages in front of you that change your perception.
That's right.
Right? Whether it's, and do it in a way with information that's false. So that's problematic. But that was happening for Facebook. But my point is, yes, Facebook is an American company. However, any company all over the world can buy the information. It's available.
Right.
So that is still the case today.
So then maybe it's more of an economic play, because if it's up for grabs for anybody who wants to purchase, you're just giving it to them by allowing them to take out.
So the government, let's just play along with what you're saying. So the House yesterday passed a bill that said to the owners of TikTok, you have, was it 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is,
something like that,
to sell to an American company. So the government is overseeing which company this gets to go to. You don't think that they're going to go buy stock in said company and run their numbers up?
Here we go.
For sure.
Okay, so we'll just put that over there because it's a money grab for the politicians pushing this forward. But let's go back to the political part. And China and the fear of China.
Right.
We currently, as a nation, owe China trillions of dollars. Trillions. China owns seaports. So literally the ships and the goods and everything that come in and out of America at I think 5 different locations in the United States. Los Angeles, Long Beach, Seattle, I think Miami and Houston are owned by China. There are companies that operate in the United States that are building buildings that have to go through like safety and security and all these things to build real estate buildings in New York. They own the Plaza Hotel. China is all in us.
So you're saying
the chips. They own everything. Every phone, every car.
It's all made in China. So is this about China? Is this about China having access to our perception? Is that what this is really about?
Well, in the election, right.
I'm just challenging you guys, anyone listening, to actually drill down. This isn't about TikTok. This is about control.
Right.
And specifically with TikTok, my opinion, it's about the fact that during what's going on between the government of Israel and Hamas, and specifically Gaza, the narrative was not able to be controlled on TikTok the way it was on IG. Remember, Sean King got kicked off. They took IG away from Sean King because he was posting too much of what Palestinian people and people in Gaza were going through. And they weren't able to control it on the news. They kicked him off. And then, like, if you follow the trail, gave him a reason, he went and met with them. And they said, no, we don't even have to give you a reason. Went around their own rules and took his IG away from him. He exists on TikTok. People putting up stories and not getting their thing shadow banned exists on TikTok. They know they can't control TikTok is the problem.
Yeah, but doesn't that also support what they're saying it is? Because it is that if you're making the argument from the Republican side,
right,
that they believe like, oh, it was unfair for the election, even though both sides seem to think it's unfair for they could in fact unfairly then affect an election because there's no regulation.
I'm not saying
in
there's grounds for their fear. I'm not saying there's not grounds. I'm saying
is
the
it really
fear,
about
the present danger exists in many other forms. So is this really about TikTok? Because now you're setting a dangerous precedent where you're allowing the government, which some people may be okay with this for their own safety and security, like we did during 9/11. People complain about cameras being everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. Some people like that there's cameras everywhere. But then there's some people who are like, yo, but my freedoms are being infringed on.
Yeah.
right? So it's a slippery slope. That's all I wanted you to think about. I just wanted to point it out to what is really happening.
You definitely don't want to take this at complete face value, because what you think right away is, you go, wait a second, they're able to get a bill written and passed on this right away. No matter how many shootings happen in this country, we can't get one thing approved to even change gun laws.
That's not important.
Oh, turn Rosenberg's mic off.
I know, it's not important.
How dare you?
How dare you bring that
I
up?
know. Wait, but TikTok's a bigger danger.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, and
Priorities.
for you parents out there, because this is obviously going to be a thing where TikTok and my kids and that way it's influencing my kids. My daughter doesn't have TikTok. YouTube Shorts is the problem.
same thing.
It's the same thing.
But they control YouTube.
Right.
No.
exactly.
So it
YouTube's
doesn't
just
matter.
an American company.
Right. No, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
what I mean.
Yeah.
America controls.
But they don't control
YouTube.
YouTube. You know why? Because here in the city, remember Mayor Adams was like, yo, we want to sue Google, YouTube, and everyone because they're promoting violence to the youth.
But that's the mayor. The United States owns YouTube.
Right.
Shorts.
They're okay with the United States being, in theory, they're more comfortable with us being poisoned by the U.S.
Well,
than they are
yeah.
with us
No.
being
Because that's
poisoned
why
by
they
what
want
I-
them to sell to an American company.
Right. But I'm pointing out to you the problem isn't TikTok. The problem is us.
Right. No matter what
Our
it is.
culture,
Of course.
our consumption habits,
Right.
what we are into is our own, is eating ourselves.
Yes.
Right.
But that's a whole separate issue. They just concerned about who's controlling this content.
Well, I get that, and I'm letting you guys know.
Congratulations, President.
Congratulations, you played yourself.